When Lily stepped out of the doctor's office, Zoe was sitting in the chair across from the door, flipping through a fashion magazine. As soon as she saw Lily, she set the magazine on the side table and stood up. "How is the baby, Lily?" "Everything is fine, and my baby will be born in just 2 weeks. I'm so excited," Lily replied joyfully. When they left the hospital, Lily noticed that Zoe was pouting. She didn't want to talk about the same topics again. As if trying to ignore it, she headed straight toward her car. Just as they were getting in, Zoe couldn't hold it back any longer. "Why don't you talk to Ethan and tell him the truth? I'm sure things would be very different if he knew." "Zoe, I've explained this dozens of times. It's not possible for me to continue my life with a man who doesn't trust me. He ended our relationship without even giving me a chance to explain." "Honey, but you're going to have a baby, and I'm sure he regrets it deeply. He just needs to be guided onto the right path." Lily didn't answer. She simply settled for turning up the radio a little louder. Around noon, as Victoria entered her son's room and began opening the curtains one by one, Ethan was lying in bed with a hangover. He had been like this every day since Lily left. Every night, he would wander through bars until late hours, throw himself into bed dead drunk, and never wake up until the afternoon. Far from going to the office, he had no desire to even pass near it. Victoria had gotten rid of the girl she saw as a fortune hunter, but now she was losing her son entirely. Still, her pride prevented her from telling him what had happened. Besides, she feared that if he knew the truth, she would lose him forever, which troubled her even more. She approached him with the tender, loving air of a mother as she woke him. When Ethan opened his eyes and saw his mother before him, he sat up in bed. "Son, shall we go to the office together today? What do you say?" "No, Mother. I have more important plans today," he said, getting out of bed and heading to the bathroom. The moment Ethan got into his car and drove out of the mansion gates, he slammed on the brakes. Zoe was standing right in front of the car. It was the first time he had seen her in a long while, and he was quite surprised to see her looking at him with such eyes full of rage. After getting over the initial shock, he stepped out of the car. "Hello, Zoe. How are you?" "I'm not well at all, Ethan. There is a very important matter we need to discuss. I can't take it anymore, and some things need to change now." Ethan looked at Zoe's face in bewilderment. As Zoe recounted everything that had happened to Lily and what she had been through since then, Ethan listened without being able to utter a single word, his eyes filling with tears of shame. He wanted to scream to the entire universe how foolish he had been. Trembling, he wiped away the tears streaming down his face. When he set off at full speed in his sports car, Zoe was having trouble keeping up behind him. A loud metallic crash was heard from 2 blocks away. When Zoe approached, she began to cry out, "No, no, it can't be." Smoke was rising from Ethan's car. By the time the ambulance pulled Ethan out from where he was trapped, he could barely breathe. When Zoe took out her phone to call Lily, Ethan was already on his way to the hospital in the ambulance. Just as Lily began to rush down from the upper floor as if she had lost her mind, she tripped and began to tumble down the stairs. While Zoe was waiting at the hospital for Ethan to come out of surgery, her eyes widened as she saw a stretcher arriving quickly. Lily was rushed into the operating room. Time seemed to stand still. While the tense wait in front of the surgery room continued, Lily's and Ethan's families were also praying in tears for some good news. When the door opened, a nurse came out carrying a newborn baby girl in her arms. The sound of the crying baby was a miracle to them. Now they were waiting for good news from Lily and Ethan. They hadn't heard anything from inside for 8 hours when the doctor appeared at the door. They immediately surrounded him. The doctor looked at the waiting people sadly. "We did everything we could. However, we lost both of them. They hadn't been able to come together in life. But with her final regret, Victoria had ensured that the two lovers would be side by side.